She stood on the corner of a cold Canadian street, her hands trembling as she clutched a worn-out bag that carried everything she had left. People passed by quickly, their coats wrapped tight, their eyes fixed on the ground, unwilling to notice the young woman who clearly had nowhere to go. She wanted to ask for help, but pride weighed heavier than hunger. Then, just as she was about to sit down in defeat, a man's voice broke through the silence. "You look like you could use a hand." She turned. Standing there was a man, mid-30s, holding the small hand of a little girl with the same bright green eyes. His coat was patched, his gloves worn, but his gaze was steady, warm. He didn't offer pity, he offered presence. The girl peeked out from behind his arm and gave the stranger a shy smile. The woman swallowed hard. I don't want to bother anyone," she whispered. Her voice cracked, carrying the weight of nights spent awake, worrying where the next meal would come from. "You're not bothering me," he said, his tone quiet but firm. "My name's Daniel, and this is my daughter, Emma. Come with us. You look like you need more than just a hand." At first, she hesitated. Accepting help felt like weakness, but something in his voice carried a sincerity she hadn't heard in a long time. Maybe it was the way Emma's tiny mitten tugged at her sleeve, as if urging her to come along. Against her fears, she followed. Daniel didn't have much, just a small 2-bedroom apartment in Toronto, a steady but modest job fixing cars, and a heart that had been broken once when his wife walked out, leaving him to raise Emma alone. But what he lacked in wealth, he made up for in generosity. That night, he gave the woman his own plate of food, pretending he wasn't hungry. He gave her the couch, tucking Emma into her own little bed, and stayed up late making sure she felt safe under his roof. Over time, she told him her story. Her name was Rachel. She had left an abusive relationship with nothing but the bag she carried. She had tried shelters, but they were full, and some nights she wandered the streets until the cold seeped into her bones. She had been too proud to beg, too tired to fight, and had nearly lost hope when he stopped and noticed her. Daniel listened. He didn't judge her, didn't lecture. Instead, he offered quiet reassurances, small acts of kindness that slowly rebuilt her sense of worth. He helped her search for jobs, even babysat Emma while Rachel went to interviews. Some days were filled with disappointments, doors shut in her face, applications ignored, but he never let her give up. Rachel became more than a guest, she became part of their little family. Emma adored her, often crawling onto the couch to read stories with her, or holding her hand as if she had always been there. And somewhere along the way, Daniel realized he wasn't just giving Rachel a chance, he was healing, too. For years he had built walls around his heart, but Rachel's quiet resilience and gentle presence began to soften him. Their journey wasn't easy, money was tight, and there were nights when the fridge held more worry than food. Rachel doubted herself often, wondering if she was a burden, but every time, Daniel reminded her, "You're not a burden. You're a blessing, you just needed someone to see it." Months later, Rachel landed a steady job at a small cafe. She saved up little by little, but by then, the thought of leaving Daniel and Emma felt impossible. They had become her anchor, her reason to keep going. And for Daniel, life no longer felt like survival, it felt like living again. One evening, as the three of them sat around their small table, Emma leaned over and said, "Daddy, can Rachel stay with us forever?" Her innocent question hung in the air, heavy. With truth neither adult had dared to speak aloud. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. Daniel reached across the table, took her hand in his, and said softly, "She already has." In the end, Rachel hadn't just needed a hand, she needed a family, a place to belong. And Daniel, the single dad who once thought he had lost everything, found that giving his whole life didn't take anything away from him. Instead, it gave him more love, more strength, and more hope than he had ever imagined. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was real. A reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness, like stopping on a cold street corner, can change the entire course of someone's life. And sometimes, giving away your whole life is exactly how you find it again. Would you like me to also write 5 perfect image prompts for Piclumen? That fit this story's key scenes for your video?